I think I caught the tail end of the question. So what would you do to end the divisiveness in our country? And I can't help but think about September 12th, 2001, when our country was united and the entire world was behind it. I mean, they were waving American flags in France, and we had the goodwill of the world behind us, and we had the moral authority. And we went into Afghanistan, and we did the job that we needed to do there, and we're still doing the job there. We haven't completed that job. We have 21,000 troops in Iraq right now, in Afghanistan rather. So what we need to do as a country is we need to bring our country together. We need to improve our standing in the world, but more importantly, we need to bring people here on Long Island and America together. We see a tremendous divide in this country over some issues, but there's more that we agree on than we disagree on. And the one thing that we all agree on is that we're cynical about politics and pessimistic about politicians, because what we've seen in this country is people that care more about political power than they do about themselves. There should not be a debate on these news shows between Democrats and Republicans or anybody whether or not a Republican leader that knew about a sexual predator roaming the halls of Congress should still be there. And there's Democrats on the other side too. So I will tell you that I really believe that there's more that we agree on than we disagree on. There's a lot of issues, whether it's choice, privatizing Social Security. On the choice issue, there's more than one of the things that I've worked hard on is the common sense of the common good initiative in Nassau County to prevent unwanted pregnancies. I'm 100% pro-choice, and I work with Catholic charities on that. So we need to bridge the gap and start working with people across the aisle to make that happen. But ideologically as well, we can't. Our country is so divided right now between red states and blue states that the culture in Washington is even more divisive and toxic than it's ever been before. And that's why we're lucky if we get 43% of the people to vote in this election this year.
There's a lady back there with the black. Yeah, you.
Yeah, my question relates to Social Security. The trend that I think we're all seeing is that fewer and fewer employers are offering their defined benefit pension plans, that Americans are more at risk for their retirement security. Companies like Enron go belly up. Everybody, you're subject to the vagaries of the marketplace. We're talking about privatizing Social Security. My question is, how do the candidates feel about one, privatizing Social Security versus maintaining Social Security safety net for retirement?
Thank you. Ms. Mejias.
I am 100% against privatizing Social Security. It's a promise from generation to generation that guarantees seniors dignity and independence, and I really feel that strongly. As a kid, my father died when I was very young, and my mother never remarried. My little sister was a baby. The only thing we had was that Social Security safety net, and my mother's union job. If it wasn't for Social Security, I wouldn't have been able to stay in Farmingdale and grow up in Farmingdale. And the president has said that if he doesn't privatize Social Security next year, he's going to try again the year after that. And I will oppose him every single time. And when there was a large group of people here on Long Island that had a town hall meeting about the privatization of Social Security, and they invited Congressman King, he didn't even show up. Just recently, right outside your office, Congressman King, I signed a pledge to oppose the privatization of Social Security, and you refused to sign that pledge. And I think that's wrong. Once and for all, you should tell people here right now whether you are for or against the privatization of Social Security. The people that are for Social Security as it is today and against privatization of Social Security deserve better than being called wacko, malcontents, and partisan hitmen. The Social Security pledge right here. If you want to end this debate once and for all, sign this pledge not to privatize Social Security, and do it today.
First of all, I'm not signing your pledge. Secondly, my position is virtually identical to Senator Moynihan, who said all issues should be put on the table involving Social Security. You're saying Social Security should be kept the way it is today. Well, the fact is Social Security is going toward bankruptcy. Obviously, we want to protect everyone's rights under Social Security. We want to maintain full benefits. But unfortunately, in the last go-around, it was impossible to have an intelligent debate. I never signed on to any Social Security plan. What I said was we should put everything on the table. If you read the report that Senator Moynihan had put out, along with Dick Parsons back in 2001, right before he died, he called for a full debate, and he said there's nothing more demagogic, there's nothing more, I forget the exact word he used, it was along the lines of cheap politics, than to accuse people of privatizing Social Security. For instance, the recent, the actuary, chief actuary of Social Security, who's not a Republican or a Democrat, said that there are 5 different plans which would have a private component, which would guarantee full benefits and full payments and secure the system. I don't know if that's true, but I'm saying let's have a debate, and that's what I've said. As far as the group that you said I agree with, I didn't, because they put out statements beforehand saying the purpose of the meeting was to tear apart the plan before it was even announced. I've spoken at many groups. I've spoken at labor groups where there are 500, 600 people who probably disagreed with me, but I stood there for an hour, discussed it because it was an honest, intelligent debate. But I'm not going to go to something that's a sham. That to me is absolutely ridiculous. It serves no purpose, and it trivializes a very, very important and significant issue. We have to secure Social Security. We have to save Social Security. But I'm saying let's have an intelligent debate and do it. We talk about the politics of fear, the politics of dividing people, but somehow telling senior citizens people want to take away the Social Security, use this word privatize. We don't even know what privatize means because nothing was ever put on the table. What we're saying is, can there be any type of personal investment component? If there can be, fine. If not, then you're going to, I'll ask you, are you going to raise taxes for Social Security? Are you going to cut benefits? How are you going to handle it? Let's have that debate.
Thank you. Man in the blue shirt.
Yeah, hello. After 9/11, Iraq, Katrina, North Korea, and all the other stuff that's been going on, do both of you or either of you still thank God that George Bush is president?
I guess that was
Every night.
Yeah. Now, first of all, let me just say that since I am a published author and actually a pretty good writer, I'm very concerned about Quakerism. So I always say up front that that quote was given to me by Ed Koch. And I see my friend Jimmy Boyle is here. Where Ed Koch first said that to me, Jimmy's son was killed on December 11th. He was standing outside St. Patrick's Cathedral. And Ed Koch said to me, because things were going on in Afghanistan at the time, and people were yelling about civilian casualties, and he turned to me and said, thank God George Bush is our president. And he said that to me subsequent times. So whenever I say that to people, well, usually Democrats who are carrying on, I say, just think what a good Democrat like Ed Koch said. And what I'm talking about is the war on terrorism. President Bush was...
Suck it up.
I tell you, the truth really hurts.
You get to know question.
Excuse me, please.
The question is, I fully supported George Bush on the Patriot Act. I fully supported George Bush on the NSA surveillance. I fully support George Bush in allowing the CIA to carry out self-interrogations. I have opposed George Bush on very many significant issues, by courts. We talk about reaching across party lines. I stood with Chuck Schumer and led the charge against Dubai Ports. I almost single-handedly, because I ended up carrying it by myself, I was the one who stopped the Dubai Ports issue, went head-to-head with the President of the United States, the President of my own party, in doing that on a major issue. On immigration, which the President has made his major issue. The night he went on national television and announced the deployment of National Guard troops to the border, I was the Republican who went on television opposing the President in doing that. Similarly, when it involves AIDS in the Oaks, by the way, Dave, you should know it was up over 200% from what it was 2 years ago. But when it was reduced this year, it was Senator Clinton who called me, and Senator Clinton stood with me as a leader, and we fought. And as a result of that, the system has been changed, and now we have increased port security funding up by 400%. We have transit security up by 26%, and the person, again, in my party, in my administration, who admitted to the grant program has been fired because of my efforts. So I support the president when he's right, oppose him when he's wrong, and I will stand by that.
Excuse me, 1 minute.